Hello, my name is Jasmine Jones. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and you are now watching Black Girl Therapist in the Wild. And this is Therapist Sips and Reviews. I May Destroy You, Season 1, Episode 4. That was fun. So, this episode was triggering for me. I was upset. I was appalled. It was like watching a scary movie. I feel like she prepped us with disgust in the last episode to prime us for this. This was a lot. I don't know how to feel. We will go through it and discuss it. And yeah. So we start with Arabella in her therapist's office. Therapist is just going over why she's there. She's a victim of sexual assault and all this other stuff. And, she's just letting her know, the limits of confidentiality and things like that. And, Arabella's listening to her and she's like, yeah, I keep saying, I know. And she's like, yeah, so have we started the session yet? So she's not sure if the session has started yet. And the therapist is like, yeah. So Arabella is finding it hard to talk in the session. And so she's just staring at the therapist for a second. And she's like, therapist asks her how she's doing. And then she starts talking about how she's fine when she's surrounded by people. So she tries to surround herself by people as much as possible. But when she's by herself, she'll have flashbacks. And get really anxious and things like that. And so the only coping skill she has when she has flashbacks is to basically tell herself stuff about how there's worse things in the world. And so she's trying to look at the bigger picture and basically not validate her emotions about, the sexual assault and shit like that, and push them down and move them to the side. The therapist is telling her that. She's like, your emotions are valid, basically, and you need to express them because you need to pay attention to them, because they build up inside the more you don't deal with them. And they build up inside, and then eventually what happens is some little thing triggers them. Little feather on the balloon that's about to pop. And boom, you mad because, you stub your toe. You start socking the wall 15 times or some stupid shit. But she, wants a quick way to get rid of these thoughts so that she can finish her book because her publishing company is on her ass and shit. And they gave her a book lackey or somebody to kind of help her. He's another author. We'll come to him. He's trash. He's trash. In between Arabella and the therapist's office, we're cutting to Kwame. And he's at the grocery store. And I think the old lady that was standing around him was his, it seemed like they were related because he was helping her with her bags, unless he was just being extremely nice and, caring about this old lady who was in front of him in line at the end. Basically, he's at the grocery store with the groceries, walking around, and he starts texting some dude and stuff, and he's supposed to meet up and have sex. And apparently the dude is meeting him there at the grocery store in the bathroom. The bathroom is so dirty. It was this was obviously before COVID. Because, oh gosh, he gets on his knees on the floor. The floor is yellow, there's piss, and it's been stained, and everything looks like it's been pissed on and stained the lightest shade of yellow. And, it's whatever. They have sex in the bathroom. It seems Kwame is promiscuous. He likes fucking and shit. And fucking random niggas and shit. So, that's his thing. Whatever. Swipe back over to Arabella with the therapist. And the therapist is telling her that she needs to do relaxing things with her friends. So we're combining coping skills of her friends help her feel good, and she needs to learn how to be still. So if she can learn how to do still type things with her friends, like yoga, meditation, things like that, then slowly but surely she can wean off them and, learn how to be still by herself. So she won't have those flashbacks and all that other shit that's making her feel upset when she's alone. And so she like immediately picks up her phone and calls her roommate to see if he wants to paint with her. Or she texted it to him and he's like, "No, I'm busy. I'm busy. We're not." We're not. So then we go to a scene where Kwame and Arabella are together. She is in Kwame's aerobics dance Taibo class. And she's doing exercise and she's, jumping and hitting the air and doing all them exercise Taibo and shit. And so, like, then Kwame notices this dude by the door. This dude is attractive. He's very attractive. Yes, he is. And the dude is, like, watching him and shit. And so he goes over to him. Apparently, the dude's grandmother is in the morning class. And he's been, like, watching Kwame and shit. And spying on him. And then, like, behind Kwame, I don't know if one scene came before the other. I don't know. Arabella's on the floor. She like collapsed from the aerobics and she's like having flashback of this nigga on top of her and all this crazy shit. It was horrible. Like she was in hell and there was a demon spawning. That's all the things. That's what I see. That's what I see in my mind. Just gross shit. I caught that. That was almost wasted. So she's like on the floor and we go to Kwame and the dude and then Kwame is walking with the dude and they're talking about how the dude has never talked to like a gay dude and Kwame's dad is living in his house and shit and he's from Ghana and he been cursing the house and looking at him sideways because like he's gay and shit and they get along. The dude's giving him puppy dog eyes. Like he looked like he like him. He looked like he's a nice person, decent individual, and so Kwame is flirting with this dude hard, and so then he like asks dude like let's meet up later, and dude's like yeah sure and shit. He fronting like he hard and shit, and Kwame like oh you mind if there's a third? So Kwame wants to have a threesome, and dude's like no yeah I don't mind no other nigga. So dude is taking on more than he can chew. And I think he like actually has a crush on Kwame because he sits and stands there and watches him for like how long is an aerobic class? An hour? Nigga, no, you like him. This is not where it goes. He is a saltwater fish. You are a freshwater fish. You can't do that. And so we go back to Arabella. She is meeting up with the publisher lackey, the dude from the publishing company that's sent to like watch her and stuff, and he's reading her book lacklusterly and just like, oh, this is stupid, what does this mean, and curly hair and black shit and chicken grease. And so he's like telling her, like asking her where she like came from. I think he set this shit up. See, now that I look at it, you even have to look at the minute details. So he's asking her where her inspiration for writing her first book came from. And she's like, she used to do her tweets on Twitter. And people were telling her on Twitter that she was the great writer and she should write a book. So she wrote her first book, something about millennials and shit. And she was like, cool. And so then she asked him like about his writing shit. And he talking about he went to Cambridge and being all high and mighty shit. You know what? He ain't shit. See, who cares? Shit, I feel like there's some trickery and foolishness going on here even from the beginning. But let's keep going. So he asked her if she wants to go to the office to go over her like pages and stuff with him. And she's like, she freezes up and has a flashback of the morning after the assault, and she's sitting in the office like in shock and stuff. So that's a triggering place. And she's like, no, let's go to a bar. So they go to the bar. That's where he's reading her shit. Lacklusterly. She just looks bored. He's bored reading lacklusterly. There you go. Fuck, got it. And he just looks bored in the face and all this other stupid shit. And then she starts having a panic attack. Not a panic attack, but she was like hyper focused on random shit in the bar, because that's what she did on the night where she got assaulted, was go to the bar with that evil nigga Simon. And so cut back to Kwame, and he's looking for some nigga on Grindr, Tinder, whatever the fuck, randoms, to have this threesome so they can have this space, because Kwame lives with his dad currently, and other nigga lives with his grandma or something, I don't know. So he's looking for another random nigga to have a threesome. I just feel like maybe is Kwame like a sex addict, because he's very frantic about how he does this. But but he uses protection at least. Like, he tries to maintain rules and structure around this. So maybe he's just promiscuous. So he has that rule. I feel like, okay. And let me see. We go back to Arabella, and she ends up at her house with old publishing nigga. And she's like, they talking and yip-yapping back and forth, and then they eventually end up having sex. And it looks wholesome. He appears to be wholesome. He appears to be wholesome and kind and not. And then we go back to Kwame. He meets up with old nigga from his class, and random nigga off Tinder has a bandage on his lip. He looks like he may have things that makes all of this upsetting, just horrible and shit. So they go inside, and old dude from the thing is feeling some type of way because Tinder nigga and Kwame is just talking, and old dude from the thing feels left out. But I think it's because he was the similar size to Tinder nigga, and I feel like he got rid of him on purpose. It was a psychological trap. This was a horror show, a horror movie, this was horrible. I feel the same way I did last week with the period blood. This bitch knows how to set niggas up. I feel upset right now. It's so triggering. Okay, so because dude from the gym, I think he kind of liked Kwame, and I think he didn't want to have this whole, production of sex in front of him, because old dude was trying to separate them from jump, talking about the dude was like a watcher and he was shy and shit, talking shit about him, making him feel anxious and worried and shit. He's trying to come out a little bit, and you're trying to fuck with his self-esteem. You're not okay. You're evil. And so then, because then they started having sex. So we have Arabella having sex at the same time as Kwame and old nigga from Tinder. And, they had a good time the first time around. And we thought it was just a wholesome, they fucking and shit. And then while Kwame and Tinder nigga is fucking old dude from the gym leaves, he just feels so upset and bothered. I know. He looks beautiful in the face. I like his face. And he just looks upset and hurt like an old puppy dog. And then he just leaves. And, old dude tries to call him back, but, he liked you. He liked you. That's all I had to say. He likes you. That could have been a relationship right there, but maybe he's not looking for a relationship. He was adamant about Tinder nigga wearing a condom. Tinder nigga didn't want to wear a condom while dude was there. He didn't want to wear a condom while dude was there. So, but he put one on because Kwame demanded a condom. I know that's motherfucking right, nigga. So, I feel like, you know, he did what he did. And then we go back to Arabella, and they just finished having sex with, I don't know, Levine, evil nigga, evil fucking nigga. And he goes to the bathroom, and she laying there, and she's taking a picture of her leg and sending it to Italy nigga, trying to make him jealous. Italy nigga's like, "Are you okay? I haven't. You seem different and shit." And I just feel like this is a setup to make Italy nigga look like he the bomb diggity and shit. And somebody said in the comments that, you know, he is standoffish with Arabella because he lost his parents, and he, you know, from drug overdose, and Arabella was doing hella drugs around him when she was there. And so that's why she doesn't want to be re-triggered by somebody that does drugs. But it's like, you can't be in and out of their life like that, emotionally and physically and shit like that. You just don't talk to them. No, because that fucks them up even more emotionally, because they want to have a relationship with you and shit, and they can't. And then they feel some type of way sometimes when they're alone and shit. Like, you know, all that fucking emotional stew. You don't do that. But, you know, maybe it's a setup, and they gonna get their shit together, and they gonna fall in love and all that shit. But I feel bad for Jim nigga. He liked Kwame. He liked him. They could have been something. There could have been a team. It could have been amazing. But his feelings was hurt, you know, because I think he liked him. And so he left. And, you know, after he left, you know, they cut back to Arabella. And she, like, is leaning over and finds that the condom is on the floor. The condom is on the floor. No, this nigga comes in. And this nigga comes in from the bathroom, and she's talking about, oh, there's a trash can for the condom. And he's like, what? And she said that there's a trash can for the condom. And then he's talking about, oh, I took the condom off. I thought you felt it. I thought you knew and shit. Like, so that, what? And he took it off so sneakily that he's done this before. Who knows what fucking diseases and deviltry he has in his system. Oh my gosh. It took away her sense of control, her sense of power, her sense of anything. It's just horrible, just disgusting, just gross. And then we have Kwame with old dude from Tinder, and old dude doesn't want Kwame to leave, and Kwame's like, I'm ready to go. No, we fuck. I'm leaving. And so Kwame is trying to open the door, and old dude closes the door on Kwame's finger, and it acts like he did it on accident. Shut the fuck up. You ain't shit. You ain't shit. You ain't shit. And then, like, he gets Kwame on the bed, he grabs him and shit, and then he rapes this nigga, like, bareback. And this nigga told him from jump he only fucked with condoms and shit. And this nigga looked fucked up in the face. He looked fucked up in the face. I'm upset. That bothered me. That upset me. But then he does his thing, and then he gets up talking about, I'm a bad boy or some stupid shit. Ugh. And he goes, and then Kwame gets up and puts his pants back on, and he leaves, and he just looks shell-shocked. And then he calls Arabella on the phone. Like, he couldn't think of nobody else to call, so he calls Arabella, and Arabella is skipping down the street with this nigga, not even realizing that she has been sexually assaulted. And you know, it happened the first time. She tries to rationalize shit, and because nigga was nice to her and he kissed her back and all this other shit, she is going to rationalize this. And Kwame is on the phone with her. I guess he hears her happy voice, and in the background she's doing stuff and whatever, and he just looks all shell shocked, and he's just like, Kwame calls Arabella because he doesn't have no one else to call. And he's talking to her, and he's like, I just want to tell you good night, bae. He's standing outside a dude's apartment with tears running down his eyes. I think he didn't want to tell her what really happened. She sounded happy and they look happy in the background. So she's walking with old dude that just sexually assaulted her, not realizing that she's just been sexually assaulted. You know, you don't want to make that shit real, because all the shit that comes after and the re-traumatization when nobody believes you and shit. Well, you invited him in and he kissed your back and all this other stupid shit, and so you don't want to make that shit real. So it's understandable that she didn't want to make that shit real. He kissed her back, so that means it's special. And so he hears all this shit in the background, her happy and shit, and so he just tells her good night, bae. That's what I want to tell you. And then he hangs up and he's just outside the dude's apartment with like a shell shock look on his face, like crying and shit. And it was like crazy. And then it ends and I'm just like, is he gonna kill himself? Is that what's gonna happen? Because I just feel upset that is something that is even being considered in this show. And I think last week people commented too that girl's friend, her friend that had the threesome with the two dudes, she was upset in the face because when she was watching them walk outside and they dapped or did something, she realized that they set a game on her. She thought that they didn't know each other. So it's like this show is about rape. This show is about compare and contrast, unambiguously ambiguous rape. Can you tell the difference? What does it look like? Puzzle these pieces together. This shit is crazy. This is like a psychological game. She prepped us last night, tenderized this to the level of disgust, and then hit us with this bullshit that was like compare and contrast and shit. Like, this is psychological games and shit. This shit is crazy. This is a good ass show. This is a very good show. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good natured. No, it's not. No, it's horrible. And it shows the ins and out of trauma. And I don't know how to feel. I was traumatized a little bit. I felt some sadness. It did not feel good. So yeah. That is my review of I May Destroy You, Season 1, Episode 4. That was fun. That shit, even the name of it. Because it's like, it was fun for the rapist. I am horrified that this bitch is doing this to people's heads. Okay? I'm just saying, like, I mean, I feel upset. I feel like I was on a roller coaster and it was just zigzagging different places. And, ugh. But yeah, this is a good show. It was a good episode. And that is it for this evening. Later days.